Hello and welcome to Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams. Today is the 4th of July, a day when Americans celebrate their Independence Day. As an African-American broadcast journalist living in Japan for nearly 50 years in self-imposed exile, I extend my warmest wishes to all Americans celebrating this historic day. But today, I want to delve into a story that intertwines with this celebration, a story of freedom, resilience, and the ongoing quest for true independence. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed, marking the birth of a new nation. This day symbolized freedom and the breaking of colonial chains, but for many, true freedom was still a distant dream. In 1776, while America gained its independence from British rule, African Americans remained in bondage as slaves. It wasn't until nearly a century later, on June 19th in 1865, known as Juneteenth, that all enslaved African Americans were finally declared free. This day marked the end of one of the darkest chapters in American history. However, the fight for equality and justice did not end with emancipation. Even today, racism and oppression continue to cast a shadow over the promise of freedom. Juneteenth, now recognized as a national holiday following President Joe Biden's signing of the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act 2 years ago, serves as a reminder of the resilience and strength of the African American community. It is a day to reflect on the progress made and the work that still lies ahead. Recently, I had the honor of covering the visit to Japan by Dr. Opal Lee, often referred to as the Grandmother of Juneteenth. At 96 years old, Dr. Lee has dedicated her life to advocating for the recognition of Juneteenth. During her visit, she shared a powerful message for the youth of Japan, emphasizing that the importance of understanding the interconnectedness of these two significant dates in American history. Dr. Lee said, quote, "The 4th of July freed the land, but Juneteenth freed the people." So as we celebrate the 4th of July, let us not forget the significance of Juneteenth. While the 4th of July marks the independence of a nation, Juneteenth marks the freedom of its people. It is a reminder that the pursuit of liberty and justice is ongoing. Thank you very much for joining us on this special 4th of July edition of Japan Journal with your host, me, Mal Adams. Stay tuned for our in-depth piece on Dr. Opal Lee coming up right after this report and her inspiring journey. Until next time, I'm Mal Adams, wishing you a reflective and meaningful Independence Day. Have a good one. Thank you.
From GNN, the Global News Network, a division of Totown Communications Company Japan. Japan Journal. With Mal Adams. A Black Buddha Productions joint of Japan. And now, your host, Malcolm W. Adams.
It was January 1st, 1863, and it started with the surrender of General Lee. We all should celebrate cause all the slaves was free. 1865 on June 19th. Yeah, this right here got young Tone thinking just how much I respect Abraham Lincoln and all that he did for all of the kids. Juneteenth made all the blacks feel big.
The king will be judged on the basis of the content of that character, not the color of their skin.
Let me tell you I'm hot. And first off, blacks have been through a lot. Having a dream like Martin King just might get you shot. On my block, if you black, you harassed by cops. With all eyes on me, I'm starting to feel like Pop, but who can stop me? We make hits like Rocky, and it was dead wrong the way that they beat Rodney. But he took it for the team, and it was segregation, so it was a black and white thing. Juneteenth.
But they will be judged on the basis of the content of that character, not the color of their skin.
I declare woe, I know y'all heard it before. It's a lot of things that y'all don't even know. Like who did the stoplight? A black man. Who did the first light? A black man. Young Nova, speaking it only from knowledge. Did a lot of studying when I went to college. Martin Luther King had a dream, Malcolm had a plan. Both got killed just for taking a stand. Free at last.
But they will be judged on the basis of the content of that character, not the color of their skin.
Black people, it's a celebration. Juneteenth, free slaves all across the nation. All we ever wanted was equalization. Abraham Lincoln made it legalization. January 1st really made it official. June 19th was the late dismissal. We need to come together because we all can relate. Start the grills with the meat and let's celebrate. Celebrate, yeah.
When all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing with the Negroes in the spiritual hall. Free at last, free at last.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams, here on the Internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, Japan Journal. I'm here in the company of the illustrious, the brilliant, the good-looking in the Japanese traditional kimono. Dr. Opal Lee is my guest today, as promised, on this edition of Japan Journal. May I shake your hand?
I'm delighted to be here, sir.
I'm delighted to have you here. Yes, indeed. Just a few prepared questions for you, and let's start at the beginning. Where are you from originally, and what was the thing that got you involved in wanting to express the lessons of freedom relating to June 10th? Give me that story.
Do you have time?
I got 5 minutes.
I'm from Marshall, Texas.
Marshall, Texas.
And had a beautiful life there. I was a kid, and I was the oldest of 3. But then my parents moved to Fort Worth during the Depression. My father needed a job. My mother followed with the 3 of us. And they were there for a year or so before our parents bought their home. 940 Annie Street. And we went to this new house. We hooked it. On the 19th of June, we were there. We had been there 3 days, I guess. But on the 19th, people started gathering across the street. The paper says there were 500 of them. And the police were there. My father came with a gun. Police told him if he busted a cap, they would let them all have us. Our parents sent us to friends several blocks away. They left on the cover of darkness. Those people tore that place asunder. They dropped the furniture.
How old were you?
9, 10.
9 years old, you witnessed that kind of racist hatred.
Yes.
So that must have instilled something in you to give you.
Well, I buried it. I never told anybody about it. And I was full grown. I mean, really with children before a reporter in Fort Worth asked about it. And so it's become public knowledge again.
No, I did my research. Is that the property that is now being rebuilt for the Habitat of Humanity?
Yes, it is.
That's an amazing story.
I went to Habitat after I learned that they owned the property to buy it from them, and they wouldn't sell it to me. They gave it to me.
Wow.
And I decided I was going to put a house on it to sell.
President Jimmy Carter was big on that, right?
Yes. Well, they told me they had plans to build a house for me. And do you know it's up, and this Juneteenth I'm going to get into it.
Stop.
I tell you,
No.
from my other house, all I'm taking is my toothbrush.
You know, that's all you need. So the house is built,
Yes,
and on June 19th,
of this year, I'm going to go into the new home.
we don't have a lot of time. I want to get to the emotional part of this because it's major, and I know you've answered many questions on your trip. By the way, how are you liking Japan?
I love it. Shucks. I wished I didn't have so much to do back home. I'd come and stay.
Well, you need to. I've been here 45, 47 years. It's a great place to live.
I guess it is, but back home there's so much that needs to be
Oh,
done.
yeah, right.
So I can't come to Japan to
Well,
live. But
well,
maybe I'll get to visit another time.
Thanks to the Legacy Foundation here, I know y'all are going to help us get something started with Juneteenth here in
Yes.
Japan. Can I publicize that?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to put that on the news.
Oh, please.
All right, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, listen, I'm not going to keep you long, but let me ask you a couple of things. This is going to be to my Japanese viewers as well and subscribers as far as Kenya, Africa, and Zanzibar around the world on the digital network of my YouTube channel. The message of freedom is for everybody, particularly since you started your international campaign here in Japan. Give me a message to the young Japanese people.
Oh, listen. I want them to understand that freedom is for everyone. Not just Texans, not just black people, but all people. And I'm going to ask them to make themselves a committee of one to change somebody's mind. You know, people who are on the same page with them, so change their mind. Not going to happen in a day, they're going to have to work at it. But if people have been taught to hate, they can be taught to love. And I want the young people to know that.
And this is a good way to stimulate that sense of love, right?
Right.
It's by sharing that freedom. I'm a journalist, and we're kind of cynical sometimes, and I still, somewhere in my upbringing in Omaha, Nebraska, my parents were involved in the civil rights movement. I got in the news business because they were burning the town down because of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was killed. And we felt that the story of slavery never had been recognized in the educational system. Systemic racism seems to want to all get over it, is what we hear so much. Talk to that and tell us how Juneteenth, commemoration of Juneteenth, and your message of freedom can educate people to just let's embrace this concept and let everybody have some peace
I
and
wish
freedom.
I had something that I could tell them that Juneteenth means freedom. First, they need to know that the 4th of July freed the land, Juneteenth freed the people. And we need to take that under consideration, and we need to be a part of making America one nation, because we are yet. And it means that we have to accept each other for what we can bring to the table, as the young people say. And forget this business of I'm black, you white, Italian, Jew, whatever. There's so much we can do together because there's so much that needs to be done.
For humanity.
Yes, so many jobless people, homeless people, people who can't get health care and climate change that we are responsible for. All these things need to be addressed. And we need to address them as one people. And the sooner we accept that fact, the better off we'll be.
Interesting. I mentioned to you that I did the keynote speech for the Las Vegas Juneteenth event before COVID, and I had an opportunity to meet over the phone Dr. Reverend Myers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Ronald Myers, who was responsible for some 43 or 4 states having Juneteenth before it, became popular.
It was not that popular. He did a good work.
Yes, he did.
And so we're glad to see that you're the face of Juneteenth now, coming around the world to do your thing.
I think some
Appreciate
doc
it.
kind of rubbed off on me
I'm
because
sure he inspired a lot of people, including me. I had the occasion to meet him. Rest in peace. Thank you so much. Continued success. You stay strong, stay well.
all right.
And
Thank you for having me.
And let's end on that comment that you made. The 4th of July, free the land.
But Juneteenth, free
I like that.
all right.
I like that. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, with Dr. Opal Lee and Brother Mal here in Japan on Japan Journal, the Internet's #1 weekly English language and translated in Japanese for Dr. Lee on Japan Journal. See it, wouldn't want to be it, unless you were right up in here in Japan with me and Dr. Lee. All right. Peace.
From GNN, the Global News Network, a division of Totown Communications Company Japan. Japan Journal. With Mal Adams. A Black Buddha Productions joint of Japan.